What's up? Welcome to episode 280 of First Geek 411. My name's Cameron. I'm your host, and with me, as always, from West Coast, Best Coast, is Emma. How are you doing?
Hi, doing good. Can't complain. How about you?
Doing good. It's chilly here, which they're forecasting more snow, so we'll see.
Oh boy.
Yeah, barely above freezing, so we'll see what happens as we go into the night. But it's a party.
Good luck.
Yeah. We are not equipped, so, but it shouldn't be bad.
Of course
only
not.
Forecasting
Why would you
Inch,
be?
So, yeah. Um, this week we are chatting about Storm coming to the MCU. The Switch 2 is real, although there's not necessarily a ton to talk about. And Sony has also canceled some live service games, including God of War. All that and more as we get into what we've been up to. But before we do that, you can find us as OneGeek411 around the internet. Join our Discord server. Shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Watch live on Twitch and YouTube Monday nights around 6:30, 6:45 Mountain Time. And find the videos over on our YouTube with all those VODs. You can also go and check out that Redbubble store. Emma, what have you been up to since we hung out last week?
Yeah, a couple of things. This week I played D&D twice instead of the usual either 0 or just once. It was going to be just once this week, but it ended up being twice, which was great. Once in the usual Tuesday cantrip game, which I was not originally signed up for, but there was an open slot, so I took it. And that was lots of fun. Because I wasn't expecting to play this week in that campaign. When things happened, my character was just kind of like, I don't know, I just work here right now. And very much just state of like, I don't know, ask the manager, I just work here. Because I was tired. But it was a lot of fun. And then played again yesterday in our other campaign, where lots of other crazy things happened. And that was a lot of fun. Set things on fire. And it was great. I went and saw Nosferatu with people on Saturday night. Great knockoff / not knockoff, but technically illegal rendition of Dracula, which is a whole fun fact movie thing. The original silent film was supposed to be an adaptation of Dracula, the book, but the author wouldn't give them permission to make it, so they made it illegally. And then the movie that just came out is a remake of the illegal silent
of the
film.
Illegal. Interesting. I did not know that.
So, it just existed for long enough that it became its own property, which is why it's called Nosferatu instead of Dracula or whatever. And it was great. Cameron,
I've heard really good things. Yeah, not my vibe.
Very, very much a horror movie, but like a very well done one that is the kind of slow paced that works. So really good. Lots of nods to like older, more silent film era like techniques, just in terms of visuals and things, and acting was great. It was all fantastic. Couple of unnecessary jump scares in my opinion, but you know what? It's a horror movie. You got to have a couple of unnecessary jump scares in there.
This will not surprise you, but I think all jump scares are unnecessary.
Yes, shocker. Are we really surprised? No. It was really pretty. The friends that I went with, there was a couple of times throughout the movie where we couldn't help but laugh at certain things. Just because they were so silly and like dumb, but in the best way possible. Like, think of the children or whatever. They did not think of the children, and then they thought of the children, and then they did not think of the children again, and then they thought of the children again, back and forth and back and forth. Anyway, good movie. If you like horror movies, go see it if you haven't already. Other things I've done, I have hobbied the hobbies, obviously, because I played D&D this week. I have also been working on more Horizon Zero Dawn remaster playthroughs, because I can, and it's
Because
my
that's like your
comfort game.
natural state.
That is my natural state. It's very much my default state. Is if I'm playing a video game and nothing new has come out, I'm playing Horizon.
Yeah, Horizon, Subnautica. Those are the...
Yeah, one of those two. Very much a guarantee that it's going to be one of those two. And that's, of course, clumping Forbidden West in with just Horizon. And that's been a lot of fun. I am still playing on hard mode, and it is definitely giving me a challenge in the best way possible. So I can't complain. And then just today, because I had some time off today, I started plotting out my character for the Crooked Moon TTRPG one-shot that I am playing with my friends. Coming up, we're doing a session 0 this weekend. And she's going to be kind of like an orc, but it's not an orc. It's like a bogborn. That's what it's called. A druid.
And this is like a witchy vibe, right?
Yeah, very witchy vibe, but like in the nicest, like a nice witch. And she does like the subclass, the druid subclass that she is like a wicker weaving subclass. So I'm excited, and I rolled stats for her today and started setting up her character sheet. And I'm excited to play her because she is gonna be so fun. And we're playing at level 7, so I could just do fun druidy things. And it's gonna be great, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. I really feel like you Emma'd the most Emma you'd Emma'd. Like,
I did. I really
played
did.
D&D twice. You played Horizon. Like
saw a spooky movie.
Yeah, you're like working on another D&D character. That plot twist is a druid.
Is a druid.
Like, it's a very.
Are you really surprised? No.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm
that's
excited.
Awesome. So for me, I have been using my library cards, plural, to the fullest.
Yeah.
And so I'm currently in, or almost done, with Jane Foster, The Saga of Valkyrie, which is about Jane Foster ceasing to be Thor and then becoming Valkyrie. It was given or recommended to me because I really like Jane Foster, and one of our friends also really likes Jane Foster. And she was like, hey, you need to read this one. So thankfully the library had it, and so I'm working my way through that. And then I also read Bookshops and Bone Dust this week. That's been my current audiobook, and so I finished that today. It is a prequel to Legends and Lattes, which is a really fun like D&D adjacent story about an orc like mercenary that like retires and starts a coffee shop. And so this is like a prequel to that story. And then it has like the epilogue kind of ties in with the sequel that I think comes out this year. I'm kind of setting up where I assume that will go. And so very fun, like very like exactly what you would want from a story set in a D&D adjacent world about like, it's just so like, it's homey. Maybe that's the way to say it. It's like, it feels like stepping into like a cool campaign in like the best way. And then also, D&D adjacent, I mentioned this, I believe in post-show chat last week, but I have finally started, after much ado, I have finally started my Marvel Multiverse campaign. And so on Saturday, I had some friends over, we created characters, and oh wow. And then we played our first session, and it was so much fun. And so I hope you're ready for these characters, Emma. So
I am.
First,
I'm so ready.
We have a guy who's basically trying to build his own Iron Man armor.
Okay.
So like we have that side of it, but because of like the power level, it's kind of janky right now, which is kind of fun. So like, you're just starting out. And so like, he's just building his
They're all
armor.
low
And
levels.
so,
like,
yeah, exactly. So we have that. Then we have somebody who's playing a depowered version of Bishop. So like an established X-Men character that basically we're saying like he's been trying to do some time travel stuff and it went wrong. And gotta tell you, the player gave me the exact tie-in for something that's relevant later in the plot. So I'm hyped for that. Like
accidentally or on purpose?
Yeah. So we're playing the Cataclysm of Kang campaign.
Okay.
And so he's like, Kang was doing something in my future, and so I was trying to fix it, which like the way that like stuff was described is going to tie in perfectly with something that honestly might not be revealed for like 8 months to a year.
Ooh.
And so I'm really excited about that.
Hyped about that.
Yeah, it's such like a like going to be a long burn, and I'm so excited for it. So then we have another person who is playing a high schooler who has found a magic Excalibur-esque sword that gives him magic powers. And so like,
love that.
Potentially not Excalibur. Like we haven't fully figured out what the sword is going to be yet. If it's going to be an established thing, a new thing, something like that. But yeah, it kind of gives him powers, and it's like a buster sword. So it like grows into this giant sword.
Amazing.
And yeah. And then our fourth player is playing the chicken from Family Guy that attacks Peter Griffin. That was the inspiration.
Great.
And so it who's also a lawyer. So he like kind of pulling the like She-Hulk Matt Murdock, like Daredevil-esque thing of like a lawyer by day, crime fighter by night.
Yep.
Except with the way stats worked. But he's a chicken. We gave him the ability of like he can change into a human, but he is a chicken. So like his natural state,
his straight up, default is chicken.
Is giant chicken. Yes.
Yeah.
But because we're level 1, like stats are really difficult to get how you want. You only have so many stat points unless you go negative in a stat. So he went negative in logic, which makes him an awful lawyer. And so we're going to have so much fun with this.
That's going to be great.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he's basically playing like a Hulk thing-esque character who's a lawyer.
This sounds more like he's a lawyer wannabe than an actual lawyer.
Yeah.
He's convinced he's a lawyer, but he's just so bad that he doesn't get much work to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love like here's a character. So like we had a thing in our session where like an NPC was about to get shot, and he was like, "Hey, if you get shot, it'll help your insurance claim." So he's like out here like dispensing really bad legal advice.
Yeah.
And
of course.
It's such a fun like character quirk or like character like shortcoming to just be like awful legal advice all of the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really excited for where we're going to go with these characters. And yeah, I'm super excited to play.
I want to know everything as it happens.
Yeah, there will be regular updates.
I expect it.
And at some point I will definitely be like bouncing some stuff off you, because I do need some like I need some cool one-shot ideas and stuff like that. And so I definitely need to figure out some fun stuff and like fun items to give people, like stuff like that. That's super silly.
Yeah.
And so so that's where we're at with that game. And like I said, I'm so excited to finally be playing. I think everybody had a great time. It's my first in-person TTRPG campaign.
Yes.
Since like pre-COVID.
Like, and it's great.
I'm
in-person is great.
So hyped. Yeah. It's such a different vibe. Speaking of which, Panda Boy is in chat, one of our players for the game. And so, yeah, I'm just so excited to be playing like a TTRPG in person. Like, again, no knock to the countless online games that like I'm playing in, but like playing in person is just so much fun.
Yeah.
And so it was a great first session. And then the last thing that I have been up to is playing Dragon Age the Veilguard. Kind of also the normal other games on the side, but as the big update here, I have hit max level I have finished all
Yay.
the companion quests, and I've finished all of the different organization quests. So I
Nice.
think I only have story to go, and I can go through the rest of the story hopefully this week, and then both have the platinum and then be done with the game. Or have finished the game. Be done with the game sounds bad, but like see it through to the end. And so, because this game has definitely grown on me the more I've played, without going into spoilers, of course, like there's some really cool like implications for like the Dragon Age lore and stuff like that, like wider lore, not just like lore for the game. And so I'm really excited to see where this goes and hopefully what this means for another Dragon Age game in the future. But and then and right now I'm at like 50 hours in, and so also love a game that is like a good burn and has a pretty good story to make use of that time. So but yeah, that's what I've been up to. Chat, people watching later on YouTube, let us know what you have been playing. If you're in chat right now, we'll talk about it in the post show.
I'm adding this to my wish list, by the way.
Yes, definitely recommend. You do not need to have played the other Dragon Age games. There are some recurring side characters, like they're, but it will be explained who they are. Like you don't necessarily have to really know them. It definitely provides cool context and some cool like hype moments when they show up, but you don't need to have played the other ones. Though I do. Broadly speaking, recommend them. But
great. Well, that's on my wish list now. Because whenever I feel I build up my wish list for whenever I feel like starting a new game, and then I just go to that and pick something out. So it's on there now.
Also, a quick thing: I finally picked up a physical copy of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So I guess I'm reading this again this year. I've done the audiobook twice, and I guess we're actually reading this year. Let's do it. I'm hyped. But yeah, let's jump into the news for this week. Emma, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. First things first, rest in peace to David Lynch, well-known director, person in the film industry. He did a lot of like American surrealist stuff. What's relevant here is X-Files? Am I thinking
Twin Peaks?
Twin Peaks.
Oh, I know Twin Peaks is the one that a lot of people talk about.
Great, Twin Peaks. That's what I was going for, was Twin Peaks. And he's just done a lot behind the scenes throughout film. But Twin Peaks was the big thing that at least people in this little section of the internet would know.
Also, the 1984 Dune, the classic Dune movie, is
the classic Dune, which itself is amazing in its own ways. And I mean, so many more things as well that are like more minute little projects that I could talk about, but that's more for the film buffs like myself. The Elephant Man, so on and so forth. He was offered a job directing Return of the Jedi, which says a lot about how he's admired within the industry.
Also, if you're a Chapel Roan fan, he directed Mulholland Drive, which gets referenced.
Yeah. But he's done quite a bit. He is well loved. And he passed away, today's Monday. On Wednesday. He passed away on Wednesday, if I did my math correctly, like 5 days ago. Or like right before then, right around then. So yeah, that is something worth noting.
From chat, we have a question, basically for you, because to the surprise of no one, the answer is no for me. Have you seen Eraserhead? His 1977 film.
No,
Um,
but it's something that I've looked into and have meant to watch. Um, when I initially learned about it, I didn't have access to something that it was on, but I do now because I have HBO. So it's going on my list. Um, so I have not seen it, but it is now on my list to watch. Um, to who's that? A Panda Boy? Yeah, it's on my list now.
Yeah.
The other thing that I have from my time spent scrolling through the internet over the past week has been that Cynthia Erivo, Alphaba herself, has mentioned that she would love to be Storm in an X-Men reboot in the MCU, which is an amazing casting choice if it's made. That would be an amazing fit for actor and role. There isn't much more to in terms of like news around that aside from just her saying in an interview basically, quote, I really want to play Storm. I know it sounds frivolous, but I think we haven't uncovered how grand she is and all of that inner turmoil that she has. And I just think that would be a great casting. We don't know a whole lot about the MCU's X-Men movie that's happening supposedly right now, aside from the, main castings that have been kind of like determined already by other appearances and things. But that's just a rumor that I've seen here and there on the internet, and I'm like, I kind of need that now that it's been put in my head.
Yeah.
Because she's amazing as an actress.
Yes. Hard agree.
And Storm needs that kind of acting power to be, because she's just such an amazing character as well. So yeah.
Yeah, this is huge, or would be huge. Apparently, there's also been, I don't know who Jeff Snyder is, but apparently there's been some conversations about that Marvel might also have some interest in her playing Storm. So, like, if true, like, that would be really cool. And, of course, interest does not mean cast, but, like, like this would be amazing.
Interest from both sides means there's at least a chance for petition, or not a petition, audition.
Yes.
And I mean, given the success of Wicked in its release and things, I mean, Cynthia's on-screen career is really just gonna keep going up from here. There's a good chance she's gonna be a high demand actor for the next couple of years, rightfully so. Very much rightfully so. And well earned. But it would be great to see her in this.
I just Googled just to see what this meant for what I was going to say. I also like the idea of an older Storm. Like, Cynthia's 38, by no means like old, but like a mature Storm that like has seen some stuff and kind of gets to play that mentor role. Like, I think would be really cool. That's a role that Storm has had a lot in the comics, like leading the X-Men at various times. Like, and I feel like having someone like Cynthia in that role would be really cool. This could also be the great chance to redeem Storm for like all of her like on-screen appearances, where like let Storm be like, with Cynthia, be an established character that knows her powers and like is awesome because like she is not a brand new like younger mutant. She is an established hero.
She's not new to everything that has ever existed, if you will.
Exactly. Like, I think that would be such a great way to take that character. Kind of like I've said this before, but similar to one of the reasons that I like Insomniac's Spider-Man is because it lets Peter be an adult.
Yeah.
Like, we have Miles as our like high school character, and Peter is in his 20s. Like, I think you could do something here with Cynthia, of have her be the established hero, Storm, and then have the younger class of mutants look up to her.
Coming
like
in,
your Kitty Prydes, your Magics, your like Colossus. Like, have your actual like younger teen-esque X-Men look up to this amazing character.
Who is truly amazing in every way, shape, and form.
Also, with her, if she was playing Storm, super easy to do some fun Wicked nods.
Oh, absolutely. Some little Easter eggs here and there.
Yeah. A good like look to the Western Sky reference, like something like that, of like I think it would be so cool to do some sort of nods to Wicked if she was to get this role.
Absolutely. I'm sure they would do at least one.
Yeah. And yeah, I could not resist if I was the writer/director.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, we have to have
Hearing,
some
we've got Cynthia Erivo as Storm. Okay.
Yeah. Even if it's like like let her hair down scene, but like let her sing karaoke for like a song from Wicked or something like that. Like, like have her sing like the Glinda part. Or something like that. Yeah. So like it's just like silly or whatever, but like I think you could do some really fun references with that.
Yeah. That would be great. I would love to see that.
Chat, let us know, what do you think of Cynthia potentially being Storm in the X-Men reboot? And if you have any other casting ideas, hit us up with those as well. With that, we'll jump over to my news. As I completely forget where my stuff is. There we go. So last week we discussed the rumors that we would be getting the reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2 on Thursday. Plot twist, the rumors were true. Also, plot twist, every leak of the Switch 2 was accurate. Like, it felt like the most like nothing burger announcement just because everything had leaked. And like
none pizza left beef.
Yeah, like, and so it was like, it all looks really cool. Like, the new Joy-Cons look awesome. It's a bigger Switch. Like, it has a kickstand that looks like it's going to be functional and not snap off right away. Like, it also has, we did get the, air quotes, reveal of a new Mario Kart. Presumably Mario Kart 9, which would potentially feature 24 character races. And so,
amazing.
Yeah, that seems like you're going to just get hit with shells all day. Like,
constantly, 24/7.
People, yeah, like there's already so many memes about like being in first place, then you get hit by 8 shells and you're in last place. Like, imagine that with 24 players. Like,
just all the time. No stopping it.
Yeah. And kind of again, to the surprise of no one, like Nintendo is doubling down on what made the Switch awesome, which is like, it is a handheld that you can connect to your TV and take with you or play at home. Like, I know we were talking last week and you said you have a Switch Lite, and like it's amazing how like simple idea the Switch is, and Nintendo just like executed it so well. And like made it so it's such a perfect thing. And like, I'm glad that we're not getting like a complete pivot to something else. It's just, hey, it's what you love but better. Yeah
And I think that's something Nintendo is really good at. Like, they do rotate out, like, they do introduce new stuff at a pretty rapid rate in comparison to Xbox and PlayStation, because we've literally gone from the original like X-Boy handheld stuff to like the Wii, to the Wii U, to Switch. You know, it's through this whole course of things. But I think whatever they do is just pretty strong overall. But yeah, like I said last week, I would love. I've been playing on a Switch Lite since COVID, so for almost 5 years now, And since rumors about the Switch 2 started, I've been holding off on getting a full Switch because I was like, well, I don't want to get a full Switch and then have this, Switch 2 come out several months later. So I'm excited that we at least have an announcement or an introduction or whatever, because that means that, like, whatever that release day is sooner than, it's soon-ish within the realm of video game releases. So that means that I can upgrade soon. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And I think probably the biggest thing is that people can now just talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's been such like a known secret for so long, kind of in the same way that, like, obviously we know PlayStation 6 and Xbox whatever are on the horizon as well.
Yeah.
Like, in that same sense, like, we've known Switch 2 was here, and we know developers have, like, not been able to talk about their games because they're coming to Switch 2 and they can't say anything.
Yeah.
And so, like, actually having it out or having it announced gives developers the ability to talk about their game.
Yeah.
And as, like, an example, next month, in February, we have it's Pokemon Day. And so we're going to be getting a Pokemon Presents. And, like, this gives them the ability to talk about Pokemon coming to the Switch too. That, like, without having to, like, dance around, wait, where is this game coming? Is it going to, like, actually run on the Switch? Like, things like that. It gives them the ability to actually talk about it. More information coming soon, whatever. But, like, it gives them that option. And then with that, we also know that we're getting a direct in April that will actually, like, look at more games. And so hopefully we'll get a look at what the launch lineup is going to be. And then speaking of games, we also got news that it is going to be mostly backwards compatible with the Nintendo Switch. Amen. Like,
we love that so much.
I don't know if I said it this way last week, but it would be very unacceptable for the Switch 2 to not be backwards compatible in this day and age. And so I'm just excited that that's going to be a thing as well. It also means that, like, if you're a later adopter to Switch 2 and you've just been kind of been picking up some of the later Switch games, like, plug them in and you have the other game on Switch 2, hopefully runs better, stuff like that.
Yep.
So, very excited for that. Excited for April. I'm sure we'll be talking about whatever gets announced for this more once we get closer to that. We'll, of course, talk about stuff for Pokemon Day, all that kind of jazz. Very excited stuff. Viewers, let us know, are you excited for Switch 2? And if so, what is it that you would like to play? And I can tell you what no one will be playing, Emma, and that is our next story. Also, I only had the Kratos Astrobot, not connected at all to Astrobot, but this is what I had. And so I didn't feel like downloading a new image. So,
you know what? Fair.
But this week we got news that Sony has canceled 2 more live service games, including a reported God of War spinoff. And so these are games from Bend Studio and Blue Point Games. And Sony has said that these studios will not be closed, but hopefully this means that they can focus on a different pitch and get things going. And so, according to Jason Schreier, the game in development at Blue Point was this live service God of War. And that Sony has said that the cancellations were made following a recent review and that it was working closely with each studio to determine the next projects. And so, and I got to tell you, Emma, amen. Like this must, like, suck for the people that put years of their lives into making games that are not going to come out. And, like, I hope they all keep their jobs and they're able to pivot to, like, a different project.
Something else,
Like, I cannot tell you how little I want to see Sony create live service games. Like,
I admittedly just had to Google what a live service game was, and I am right there with you on that one.
Yeah. So for people that may not know, live service games like Fortnite, games like Call of Duty, that, like, they don't end. Typically they're multiplayer. By definition, they don't have to be. but like typically like multiplayer style games.
Yeah. Things
And
that
the
have
idea
like
of
seasons
yeah,
almost.
yeah, and so Marvel Rivals is probably the most recent example of one, but also things like Helldivers 2 is a live service game. So like obviously that one worked out for Sony, but like Concord didn't. Like, and yeah, this is I talked about this before when we found out that The Last of Us Factions was canceled, and basically Naughty Dog felt like if they were going to release Factions, they were going to become the Factions studio. And like, I'm out here like, cancel that game, let it burn to the ground. Like, we've now seen Intergalactic that they were working on, and like, I am infinitely more excited for that than any live service game set in the Last of Us universe. And like, that's how I feel about this too. I would much rather see Bend and Bluepoint create a cool, engaging world. And if that world is multiplayer or has like some sort of like live service-esque aspect, great. But like, I want that to be because it uplifts the game versus, hey, here's an IP and we're going to make that IP live service. Like, and so, yeah, I hope everyone keeps the jobs again. I hope everything goes well for them, of course, but I'm much more excited now to know whatever it is that these studios are working on, knowing that this has been scrapped. And so, kind of with this, there has been a rumor going around that the studios were not aware that the games were scrapped until the public found out. That has apparently been debunked. So it seems, not knowing at all how like a studio structure would work, I would not be surprised if some people didn't know the game was scrapped until the public found out. But yeah, apparently from Jason himself, he has debunked that like it was a shock to the studio. But yeah, I'm hopeful that this means that Sony will be focusing more on specific live service games rather than trying to make everything. A couple of years ago, they announced that they were working on 12 live service games.
That's wild. That's too many. That's like that was too many.
Yes, that was like the general takeaway. Was like, this
4
is an
like
awful
max
idea.
pushing the limit
Like,
of service games.
Yeah, and like, because like the problem is like time, like not developer time, but fan time. That like if you have like, just to pick like Naughty Dog IPs because they're some of my favorites, like if you have an Uncharted live service game and a Last of Us like live service game, those are going to eat into each other's audience. Like that's not what you want. And like if you're making 12 live service games, people just don't have time. Like there's a reason that a lot of people stick with the specific games that they've played for a long time, and it's because they've invested in this game. And like, I don't really want to go to something else. And like, you're not going to win over people with 12 different live service games. They later walked that number back to 6. And now we've had more games canceled. And maybe we're at like the 4 that we should have been at to begin with. Like, considering we have Helldivers, Concord's RIP. We know Marathon is still being worked on. And then that's all we know of live service game wise for them. And so hopefully that means all the other studios are making cool stories and doing fun stuff. Like, I'm excited
that
for
is
that.
Indeed the hope and goal. All we want is good content.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else from this article I wanted to call out. We do also know that Insomniac at one point in time was working on a live service Spider-Man multiplayer game set in their universe. Again, hyped that didn't happen. Like, would I have played it? Most definitely. But like, I would much rather them work on Spider-Man 3 or like Miles Morales 2 or like whatever it is that they're going to work on. I would much rather that happen. Also, post-credit tease from the end of Spider-Man 2. I'm not going to say what it is, but if you've played it, you know.
Dude, I haven't even finished the first one.
I would much rather
I got
that
too
happen.
overwhelmed.
it happens. But yeah, I'd much rather that happen than any multiplayer project. And so again, as I've said, I just hope that this means that these studios are out here like creating something really cool. Like it feels like asking Bluepoint to create a multiplayer game just seems like an awful idea. They've done such a good job with like some of the remakes that they've done, but like they did the Shadow of Colossus remake and they did the Demon Souls remake for PS5. And like those are both immersive fantasy-esque like
every studio
RPGs.
has their strength.
Yeah. It's kind of similar to like many years ago at this point, but when Crystal Dynamics got pushed to do the Marvel Avengers game as a live service. And it's like, hey, we took the studio behind the reboot of Tomb Raider, this like Lara Croft single player adventure, and now they're out here creating a multiplayer like live service game. Or Anthem as another example with BioWare of like you took a studio known for Dragon Age, Mass Effect,
single player,
KOTOR, like single player RPGs, and they had done multiplayer stuff. Like Mass Effect 3 had a multiplayer mode. That was pretty fun. I enjoyed my time with it, but like it was not a multiplayer game, and that's like it's not what it was known for. Then you had them make Anthem, and like it did not go anywhere. Like
no,
like let studios be good at their thing and do that well.
Please.
Yeah. And I feel like this is like because like you didn't like grow up a gamer, right? Like that was you weren't playing.
Not really. No, my parents were a bit like not fully anti-screen parents, but they were like more so go outside and play parents. Because we had the whole like only 1 hour of screen time thing. But we did when I was in middle school, like 6th grade. The Wii had been out for a little bit already, a couple of years. But we did get one for Christmas when I was in like 6th or 7th grade. Okay. And we also had the Game Boy XPs before that. But I only played like Pokemon and Super Mario on it, and that still fell under the like 1 hour of screen time rule. Okay. But the Wii was the first like proper TV console we had, and we got that when I was in middle school, and we had all of the like the Wii sports games, the Just Dance games, and all of the party games, which is partially and mostly why my parents were willing to get it, was because it had a lot of like group games that like were
fitnessy.
Fitnessy, like very catered to that. And of course my friends and I ended up loving it and used it all the way through to the end of high school, playing Just Dance and everything, and it was great and we loved it. So like we weren't the biggest video game family, but we did have the Wii, because that was something my parents could sort of get behind. So college was really when I was like, okay, I'm going to buy someone's secondhand PS4 and use it for myself because I'm in college now and my parents can't tell me what to do.
As someone that like had very much the opposite experience from that of like I don't remember not playing video games, like that kind of thing of like, I feel like when I was a kid, you very much had the like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if every game that I love, I could also play multiplayer with my friends.
Yeah.
And then like for every game that did that and was really fun, 8 of them were awful. And I feel like the live service is kind of that exact same thing of like, oh, I love God of War. It would be awesome if it was multiplayer and I could play with my friends. But at the same time, like, I feel like I'm at the age now where it's like, I don't think we need that. Like, certain things work. Like Marvel, like, let's smash some action figures against each other in Marvel Rivals and have an awesome time. But, like,
great.
I don't think we need that for every IP. Like,
probably not.
Listeners, let us know. What do you think? Where are you at on the live service changes as we kind of revert back to some classic PlayStation, seemingly, and get away from these live service games? Let us know what you think. What are you excited for? What do you hope these studios are working on? And yeah, with that, couple announcements before we go into post-show chat. We are most likely going to be needing to delay our January book club just due to some life stuff that is going on. So what that means is we are hopefully going to be doing our 2024 top fives next week. Yeah. And so we used to do this kind of as our end of year thing. With this year, end of year kind of got busy for everyone, so we delayed it out. But we're hopefully going to be doing that next week. We'll be posting in the Discord, so make sure to join that Discord. Let us know your top fives, and we'll talk about them. For people that have not experienced those before, the only rule is that there are no rules, and it's pick your favorite 5 things from the year. Yeah. And so it can be 5 video games. It can be 1 video game, a book, a movie, a TV. Like, you can kind of spread it out and do with it what you will. I also will assume, at least on mine, there's going to be some groupings of things. Like insert everything that happened in this fandom this year kind of stuff. And so it's a lot of fun. Hope people can come back and join us for that again, hopefully next week. We'll be reaching out, trying to get some from any of our hosts that can't be here as well, so that we can get those read off. And then, like I said, in chat, or in Discord, we'll also be gathering what are people's favorite things from the year, so that we can discuss those. And then once we figure out the date for the January book club, we'll also figure out what that means for our next book club, if we're going to also do a February, or if we're going to kind of just push A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed into our February book club. And so we'll keep everyone in the loop for what that means, and hope everyone can come and join us once we are able to get to that. And then, yeah, all that said, thank you everyone who came and joined us this week as we get ready for post-show chat. As a reminder, you can find us as One Geek 411 around the internet. Join that Discord server so that you can chat top fives with us. You can also shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. You can head over to Redbubble, buy some merch, watch live with us on Twitch and YouTube, and then check out the VODs on YouTube, where you can like, comment, and subscribe. And then you can also find us on our personal social media. Mine is Humar Whittill.
Mine is I am not prepared, with an I am not prepared.
And it's been a great week.
Watch a movie.
Play some amazing story-based video games.
Yeah.